Good morning, everybody. Dungeons & Dragons Online Update 63 is coming with some cool new content, so I wanted to quickly go over it for you in-game as opposed to on the patch, because I think it'll make a little bit more sense. So, first of all, we're going to be getting 4 new quests in the next update. Now, this is way sooner than I expected because we just got the Vecna expansion, but 4 new quests is pretty cool. These 4 new quests in question are going to be called, oh, the game is lagging, there we go. They're going to be part of the Illithid Invasion event, which is going to feature Extreme Challenge dungeons. So these quests are going to have Extreme Challenge. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't done it yet. If you don't like going on the previews and looking up the things on the preview server on the Mania, again, I don't want to spoil it, but these Extreme Challenge dungeons are interesting. Now, we don't know details about the rewards exactly. We don't know details about exactly how it's going to work to get into them. If you have to do something, these are just the quests themselves. So we don't have a quest giver. We don't know where they're going to be, but we can run the quests. And what I can say to you about these, the quests are interesting. You have the Pilgrim's Peril, the Stolen Power, Horde of the Illithid Controller, and Astral Ambush, and they have mechanics not seen in other DDO quests. They're like raid adjacent with raid-esque mechanics, but they're only 6-person dungeons. Now, Extreme Challenge. Are they extremely challenging? As of right now, no, they're not. None of them are extremely challenging. They're challenging in that there's some new mechanics you have to deal with. I would say the hardest one is probably either Horde of the Illithid Controller or Pilgrim's Peril. One of the mechanics you have to deal with, especially Horde of the Illithid Controller, is that monsters are completely immune to any mental effects. So you can't just use like your standard crowd control, like I played my support bard, and I can't hit him with Mass Hold Monster. So, obviously it's going to be a more difficult quest depending on what you're doing. So there's a lot of interesting mechanics. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but I had a lot of fun doing them. I really enjoyed running these on the Mania. They're hopefully going to be getting updated and tuned a little bit better, because again, they're just not really hard. But once they get there, they'll be really good. As I said, they're completely unique mechanics in these quests. So stuff we've never seen before in DDO, and I'm actually really surprised. I thought they were just going to be dungeons with higher health monsters, and they're not dungeons with higher health monsters. They actually did make ways to make encounters more challenging without just adding numbers, which is very cool. Next up, we have the named items. So the named items with Update 63, we have several trinkets as well as several rings. There's one ring for a quality stat. So there's a quality intelligence, wisdom, charisma, constitution, strength, and dex ring. So you can see here, there's a quality intelligence impulse ring, and it's got universal spell lore. You have the transform voice, which is quality charisma. You have the altered soul, which is quality wisdom. And you also have the same thing, quality trinkets as well. So you have these trinkets that add quality to a stat, and then they had some extra stats on top of that. I'm not going to go through all the items here, even though there's only 12, but long and short of it is these items are extremely good. Not all of them are going to be perfect, especially items that have better quality options in their slots. As an example, something along the lines of like, the Ring of the Unlocked Mind for quality intelligence 3. There's probably going to be better items that are out there. However, exceptional universal spell lore is only available on armors, and the Clouded Dreams ring, now it's on extra rings. And a lot of the other quality items are just absolutely insane. Stuff like the Severed Tentacle is probably one of the best items that's been added to DDO this year. It's crazy how powerful this item is, and for all you strength users out there, it's pretty sweet. So these items are very, very good. They're going to be coming from the new Extreme Challenge dungeons, which makes sense because they're all very, very good and well statted, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of these items in the game. And the last thing that's going to be added in this patch is something called the Otherworldly Cards, or the deck of the Cursed Deck. And if you want to go do some research, you can read into the fact there's a lot of controversial opinions about the deck. I'm not going to get into everything out there, but the long and short of it is you collect these cards. We do not know how, but you collect these cards. And then once you have 12 of each card, you can then click on one, and it allows you to form a deck of cards. So I can form a deck here. So I'm going to shuffle 12 of each, and then boom, it gives me this box that is a deck. And then once you have the deck, you can then take an item that in your inventory. I can grab my deck of many curses. I can take any of my item, and I can draw a card. By drawing a card, it's going to add a special effect onto my item on top of what it already does. So this item in question is the University Spell Shield Docent. It's got an augment in it. It's got some other stuff. And if I click draw on this card, so I go draw here, boom. Now, my item not only has all the effects it had, but also has Curse of Minor Imbuement, and it gives me a +1 fortune bonus to imbue dice. which is pretty cool. It's just an extra stat. However, there are a couple caveats here. The first one is that you can never change this. So, as a bard, I don't use imbued dice on my spellcaster, so this is useless to me, so I can't use this. So it's an interesting stat, but it has no effect on my character. So what I could do is I could go farm out another spell shield dose and try again, or I could just wear this, which is what I would probably do, and just have a stat that doesn't do anything. And so it's a cool system. You collect the cards and you get a random stat, but because you can't change it, there's no re-rolling, there's no removing, a lot of people are pretty upset about that, because some people go to very large lengths to perfect their gear, where they get Mythic and Reaper bonuses on their pieces of equipment, and having like a weapon with a Mythic 4 Reaper 3, you then say like this, like a longsword, you go and you get it, it's got the Mythic 4, so 4 melee power, Reaper 3 melee power, so it's giving you 7 extra melee power, and then you hit Curse of Major Archery for 5 ranged power. Are you really going to go out that Mythic 4 Reaper 3 raid weapon again? And that's the thing that is kind of annoying. So SSG has said something along the lines of like, it's meant to be for fun, so you know, it's not about maxing out things. Which I don't know if they said that, or if people are just assuming that they said that. Anyway, the prevailing sentiment is that SSG is thinking more about like, oh, people could have fun with this, as opposed to actually getting good stats or whatever you have. And here's my opinion about this. I think that if you break down all the different types of characters that people can play, when you put something on a piece of gear, there's a huge list, by the way, the huge list of things you can get. It's massive. There's only about a 10% chance somebody is actually going to get an affix that they genuinely want from this system, like 10% of the time, at best. And that is like a huge estimate. So given the fact that you only get it like 10% of the time, that means 90% of the time, someone's going to have a negative outcome or interaction with the system because they just can't change the gear. So, I don't think a system like this should be deterministic, but it would be nice if you could re-roll the gear. So if I could just take this thing and, you know, if instead of having, there's like draw, I think, on this, and then there could be shuffle, where you could either like remove the bonus off of it and then reapply it and remove and reapply or something like that. That would be nice. If a deck could either draw or shuffle, you could shuffle the power into the deck. That would be fine with me. I would like that. I'd like to see them do something like that, just to be able to remove it. I don't think it needs a deterministic system. If you want it to be fun, just add that RNG element where you never know what you're going to get. Because then for a lot of players who are not farming those perfect, ultra, like, pristine pieces of gear, you know, maybe I get the Curse of Minor Imbuement and I go, oh, you know what? Maybe we could make a Warforged that uses Imbue dice. That'd be kind of cool. I could get that bonus. And my brain starts thinking about that. But as I said, in general, I think that having no way to change it is going to breed a lot of negativity and is going to make people pretty upset with this system in general. Because if you decide to click it, you could potentially make your item not necessarily worse. There used to be things that would like make your items bad, but they have decided to change that and they're getting rid of that. They're already making changes. But yeah, I'd like to see them make it so you can adjust it. That way you don't feel forced in this one thing. However, I would like to note that Strimtom Games has already been listening to feedback. They've already posted in the threads in question. Specifically, they said that, number one, they're going to be removing the negative effects, because some of the negative effects were crazy punishing. One of them was the sink like stone effect, where your character actually can't swim and you sink to the bottom of water, which would be really bad to get on one of your important pieces of raid gear. So glad they are removing some of those things like that. And then also, they said they're continuing to listen to feedback about the acquisition and about the binding status and stuff. So who knows? Maybe we will hear something about that in the future, or there's going to be something else. We know there's going to be a second preview, so, you know, feedback is good, but hold your anger or frustration until the second preview, because we're going to see a more refined version of the system, and that will kind of, that can guide your anger. Right now, I'm not angry. I think this system's not so much fine. It's just an extra bonus, especially if there's no negatives, but it is kind of a raw deal to get a ranged power bonus on my longsword or on my scimitar, and I can't do anything about it. So yeah, not my favorite. We're getting like a tactician bonus to get bonus tactic DCs, which is kind of cool, on my fully crafted spellcaster shield that took like 2,500 threads, and I had to get this out of raids, and I'd have to recraft it again. So anyways, that's all there is coming up in Update 63 so far. No new class features or anything like that. No new balance changes. But I'm super stoked for the Extreme Challenge Dungeons. I'm super stoked for the items. And even the card thing, I mean, again, we'll have to see how it goes and how it actually looks in the future. But with that being said, that's all I got for you today. So thank you so much for watching and checking it out. We'll do a review of the actual patch notes when the thing releases, and if anything changes between now and the actual patch, I will, of course, keep you apprised and let you know. I'm also going to probably put out guides for each of the individual Extreme Challenge dungeons, because while I found some of them very simple, there were people in my chat while I was running them on stream who were like, I wouldn't know how to do this, or they were talking about how they would struggle with this. So I will put out some guides for people to get through those dungeons when we get there. Anyways, that's all I have. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.